Welcome to part 1 of Competency 15. In this competency, the teacher understands the relationship among probability theory, sampling, and statistical inference, and how statistical inference is used in making and evaluating predictions. In this video, we will work with types of data on the TI-84. Before we begin, let's take a moment to talk about data types. We have the qualitative and the quantitative. Understanding that quantitative has to do with the actual number problem, being that they are discrete or continuous. Then if they are continuous, we have the intervals and then the ratios, okay? And then for qualitative, that's not necessarily numerical, but we can put some kind of a numerical way of judging it and then taking information off of the data, okay? Which is nominal and ordinal. Now, ordinal is ordering, okay? And that would be in the pink. If you're not familiar with these items, there's lots of great videos online. At the end of all my videos, I recommend a particular person on YouTube. You might want to take a look at that. And also, you can always pause the video and take a little snap of this, little snapshot, and use it to help yourself study. All right, let's start with some problems. Number 1. In a small classroom of 9 students, the number of absences during the school year is given with each student's final numerical grade. The results are listed on the table below. Which scatter plot represents the data in the table? Okay, scatter plot tells me what I need to do. I can create one on my TI-84, match it against my options, and I'm done. Okay, so let's figure out how to do this. So I need you to push Stat, and number 1 highlighted means edit. Okay, let's push enter. Now I have already entered these into the calculator, but your calculator may have other things, and how familiar with their use, I don't know. So let's go over to L1. Let's say I have L1 populated incorrectly. If I go up and I push clear and enter, I can clear it all out. Be careful, do not use delete. The TI-30 uses delete to manipulate the list. Please don't do that here. It'll get rid of the entire L1 is what I'm saying, okay? So now, if you haven't already figured out, we are entering L1 as the absences, okay? Because it comes first. And then L2 is your final grades because it comes second. So we're taking our horizontal table and turning it into a vertical table, but be aware which one's L1 and which one's L2. So now let's enter. So I have 0, enter, 5, enter, then 3, then 9, then 1, then 7, and 3, and 2, and 6. Okay, and it matches each grade. Double check 385. 755, 195. Always take a couple seconds to double check. Okay, we're fine. Now we need to create a scatter plot. So first, I check and see if it's on and point something out to you, okay? So let's look at my y equals. If you see above, you can arrow up and over and literally turn the plot on and off. Okay, so I'm going to turn it back on. Okay, so now let's go to second y equals. That's the actual scatter plots. And now number 1 is what we're going to use. And look, it's already set up. Look, it seems as though it's already in a pink color. And it's using L1 and L2. And it's using the square marks. Okay, all right, so push enter. And everything seems great. Okay, so that's great. We have a list of items entered. Well, let's see what happens when we push graph. Oh my, it has my logo. What do I do? Well, we can actually turn this off. So second window, and here's where we can manipulate. Okay, what we see, right? So we want it on rectangle coordinates, leave that on. Um, coordinates, yep, that's on the grid. The grid is off. The grid color, don't worry about it being light gray because we've turned it off. The axis, now we want those on. And I generally, let's just use I'm not sure what is our background color. That all depends. What I did is let's just do the yellow. Let's just do the yellow. And it won't quite match our ABCD, of course, but we'll still be okay. Right now, labels, I have those on. We can turn those off. That's XY. That will be fine. Okay, then uh the expression, no, let's turn that off because then it'll list it on there. Background color. Well, we have yellow. Well, it's already in white. See, it says number 4. Well, no, that's border. We don't care about border. That's border. Sorry, background color. Ooh, that's what we had. We had an image. We don't want an image. Let's go to an actual color. See how you can arrow over? Well, we have a yellow grid. So let's put a black background. And that should also make that magenta pop, okay? All right, and asymptotes are on, but we don't have to worry about that here. Okay, so we've set everything up. So let's go to a graph now. Okay, now we have a good background and a good grid, but we don't see any dots. Well, let's go to zoom. So which one do we use? Well, we want one that's going to give us our stat data. This is data points and statistics. We're trying to get a correlation. So let's try number 9. Zoom stat. And there you go. Well, it looks like to me that the best and exact image, well, minus the coloring. Our colors are different. And you can go back and play with that and change it all you want, okay? And we can do that right now. But before that, we see that option A is what we want. Okay, so let's try this again. Go second, zoom, okay? And above that, see it says format. Okay, so now what do we do? Well, let's go with the same color border. Let's match what they have. Go down to border color. Oops, axis first. We had yellow. Well, let's change that. Let's go with a black or as dark as we can go. Oh, there it is. Black. That's our axis, our Y and X axis. Okay, don't worry about labeling. Well, you know what? We could turn it on just to let you see it. Okay, so let's turn label on. See what happens. Um, expression. No, we don't even have an expression. Like, well, an entered equation per se. Don't worry about that. So let's see here. Border color. They've got like some kind of a turquoisey thing. Let's keep air. Oh, there it is. Arrow over. There you go. Number 3. Leave it. Total background. We want white. Going until we get a white. I never can remember which direction I need to go. So I will go. Ah, there it is. White right there. So we're good to go on that. Push enter to make sure it, or go down to make sure you have it. Verify everything. I don't want my grid on. I still have it off, so I'm good. Now let's push graph. Oh, look, and there's our XY axis, and it's even highlighted in that turquoise color. Interesting. Now we have just about exactly like A. And if we want to turn off the labeling, just go down right here and then push enter and then go back to graph. Perfect. Number 2, 30 people gave their eye color. The data is listed below. Okay, and here is our rows and columns. Write a frequency distribution for these 4 eye colors and find the percent of blue-eyed people. Okay, so it looks like we have some counting to do. So let's scoot up and start doing that. Well, from the way the lists are written, some of them looks like we have some accuracies on counting and some inaccuracies. So we have to figure out which list is correct and then look at the percentage. Okay. All right. Well, let's start with the lower numbers first. Let's go with blue and brown. So let's go to brown because it's listed first. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so there are, yes, 4 brown. So that eliminates A and D because the brown is incorrect. Okay, now let's try blue. Okay, I'm gonna change my highlighter. Okay, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I see another one. 8. Okay, so who can we eliminate now? Well, they're both 8. Well, that didn't help us out. All right, we'd already eliminated those. So let's go with amber. I see 10 and 11. Okay, we can just underline those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that gets rid of D because that's incorrect, okay? And when we counted the blue, all we did was just verify that A and B were, well, one of them was incorrect, that B was actually still incorrect. So at least that's been verified. And I would say we're going to go with C, but we still need to check this percentage. So we know that the total is 30 because that's given. Okay, that was already counted for us. And of the blue, it asked for blue-eyed. We know we have 8. So don't set that up as a fraction on the calculator. Just divide it out. Okay, so 8 divided by 30 and enter. That way it gives you a decimal. If you set it up as a fraction in your calculator, all it will do for you at that point is automatically reduce it and it'll still be a fraction. Okay. So looking at that, if we round that, 27% is correct. Okay. And we can turn that into a percentage by multiplying it times 100. Okay. And there you see where the rounding comes from. All right. So C has been verified. Let's go on to number 3. Number 3, employees of a particular company were requested to state their heights to the nearest inch. The shortest person listed their height as 58 inches, and the tallest person listed their height as 86 inches. Below is the list of the heights in inches of all 36 employees. Construct a grouping frequency distribution using the following 6 classes of data: 58 to 62, 63 to 67, 68 to 72, 73 to 77, 78 to 82, 83 to 87. What percent of the people were between 73 to 77 inches tall? Okay, that's quite a bit of information. However, we'll be fine. I have already, or rather, we need to list all of these heights into L1 in our calculator so we can actually construct this frequency table. So let's push stat, and what we need is to edit. Okay, push enter, and I have it all entered in L1 only. I've erased everything out of my L2. Okay, if you want to see how to erase your items, remember I've already shown that uh, previously in this very video. Okay, so now what do we do? Well, I'm going to go second mode. And remember your list of L1, L2, your listing, it's very finicky if you try to do stuff without backing out because sometimes it stays in the list. So watch that particular issue. Okay, now let's push stat again. We're just going back to stat, but let's go to sort A. That's number 2 here. What I want to do is sort my list, and that's why I erased everything else I had in my calculator. I only want something in L1, okay? So let's push enter and say second, number 1, which is my L1, and I always close my parentheses. You probably watched other videos and see me do that all the time. Okay, push enter, and it says, hey, I've done that for you. Now go look. So what do? We push stat and go back to that. Nice. It is all done for me. Okay, great. So what do I do next? Well, I can literally just count the items. I can let's arrow over and then just count. So I need everything from 82 to 62. And as we go and count, if you're doing this with me, I've already done this several times just to verify that I'm doing it correctly so I can show people. Okay, so as I go, you can also see if you've made a mistake in entering. Okay, all right, so let's see how many we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We stop, and that is correct. So we have 6 here. Okay. Now, how many from 63 to 63 to 67? Sorry. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, only 9. Okay. Only 9. So I'm going to go back up. Stop there because it said 267. So that would be 9. Okay. Now we need 68 to 72. Okay. Let's count and see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, that's 11. Let's go one more. Nope, it's 11. I was suspicious of that. So go back where you stopped. So that's 11. That way you're counting correctly each time you arrow down. Okay, let's look at 73 to 77. Let's start counting those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope, go back up to 6. Okay, all right, because it jumped to past 77. Okay, now let's count the next one. And we're only going to 82. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's 3. Nope, go back to 3. Once I got to 82, I was get suspicious when I get towards the end. So that's 3. Now, let's let's see. It's 83 to 87. Sorry, took me a second to look. Okay, only to 87, and then that's the highest amount I think. It should be. Okay, 1, 2. Oh, that's it. There's only 1. And there you go. That is the highest amount because we don't go that high. Okay. Well, that gives us everything that we need. We just need to add 73. Oh, we don't even need to add that. It's within this grouping. So this is the only grouping that we need. Okay, it's a class actually. It's called six classes. So that grouping is the class that we're interested in because that is part of the question. And we know we have six. So what do we put into our calculator? Well, just put six over our total of 36. Our total is given to us. We have 36 people or employees at a particular company. Okay. So let's go second mode. Remember, if we type it, start typing right now, it'll stay in the list. So 6 divided by 36, enter. And oh, be careful. That is not a percent yet. You have to multiply that times the 100, enter, and there we go. Option C is verified. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Number 4, on a 4-question quiz given to a class of 20 students, a student's possible grade is 0, 25, 50, 75, or 100. The results of the quiz for the whole class were as follows. Okay, then they give you the whole list, okay, of all 20 students. Create a vertical table of the 5 possible grades and show their respective frequencies. What percent of the students received a grade of B? Okay. All right, that is a loaded question. First, let's look at what they asked us at the very end. What percent of the students received a grade of B? There is no B. There's simply no B because of the way this quiz is. Possible grades are 0, 75, 50, 25, 100. There's no 80 anything. There is no range that is between 80 to 90. So I'm saying 0% is what we're going to get. Logic prevails. But the other half of the question is, hey, you need to make a frequency table. Okay. So we could sit here crossing things out and trying to group them all day long and counting. Well, if you have trouble with that, we could just create a frequency table by doing what we did in the prior question by making a list. So push stat and see you have edit. Okay, push enter. And I had in L1 the previous question. Let's say you're taking a test and you don't want to get rid of that in case you're kind of still thinking about it or you want to go back and reread the question really quick. So go to your L2 and now let's put in those items 50, 0, 100, 25, and then 275, 75 enter, 75 enter. Let's see, then 100 and okay, and then a 50. Let's see, 100. There's a 50. Then let's see, a 75 again. Then a 0. Two more 75, so 75, 75. And then 200s after that. 100, enter. 100, enter. Then 375s. Okay, so 75, enter. 75, enter. 75, enter. And then a 50, and then a 100, and then a 50. Okay, and that should be 20. Now, here's a few little tricks to see, or one thing you can do to see if you actually entered 20 items, okay? So let's go stat, go over to calculate, and see where it says 1 var is where it's already highlighted. Push enter, and we are in L2. So second L2. Then when I go to frequency table, get rid of that, clear it out because we're not, we don't have a frequency table. We're creating one. Okay. So let's calculate and calculate. Okay, see where it says n equals 20? That's the number of items entered, okay? And it actually here at the top tells us that the mean grade, that X bar, the average grade is a 66 on this particular quiz. Okay, but that's not what we needed. We were just making sure, hey, I entered 20 of those. Okay, so now let's go back to stat. And as before, let's sort them. Okay, and we want number 2, push enter. And remember, we are in the second list. So that's second, number 2 for L2. And yes, I'm closing my parentheses. Push enter, and it says, hey, you are done. So now we go back to the stat, and there is our edited list. Okay, so let's see here. How many zeros do we have? Well, we have 2. Okay, so let's write 2. And then 25s, let's go down. We go down, down. Looks like we only have 1. Okay. 50s. 1, 2, 3, 4 is what I see. And that is correct. 75s. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, looks like we have 8. Okay. Then 100%. So let's see how many we have. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, just 5. Okay. And we know that we entered 20. So if we added these all together, it should equal 20. And that's what I'm looking at. Okay. And again, there is no 80 as far as an interval or a class interval. That's it. That's all we have. So D is again the correct correct option. Sorry about that. Okay, this is the last question in this particular video. I wanted to thank everyone for liking us, sharing us, and subscribing. Those of you who subscribe, thank you so much. And also the wonderful comments. You guys are just too kind. And again, happy testing, everyone.